let's turn to some vendors, some vendor names in the security space, if you don't mind, since this is really your area of specialty. So looking in here, we have it's a crowded market in the information security sector. This is our technology spending intentions survey from July, our most recent one. Lots of respondents on this. We have some standout names. Microsoft's still kind of dominant in the pack when it comes to both, NetScore, which is our kind of overall spending intentions, and then Pervasion, which is presence in our survey. It keeps growing in Pervasion. It's becoming more pervasive as a security vendor. But beyond that, we have several other names, and maybe we should, we could start with maybe another, broad player like Palo Alto Networks. Any opinions on some of these bigger, broader names like Cisco, Microsoft, Palo?
Sure. So Microsoft is there because they've added a lot of those second tier tools, I'm going to call them, to their product that,
Sure.
Again, in my mind, are probably not best in class, but are adequate enough for most institutions. Those products usually are free with E5 or a little bit extra, or many of them even free with E3.
Right.
So Microsoft's doing great in the market of not the Fortune 100 solutions for at least security. I think Cisco has always done well just because they've been a very, very long player in the field of networking. Their newer products come very close from a security perspective to what Palo Alto products do. And they're much cheaper. And quite frankly, it would be hard for a major Fortune 100 institution, and I know some that have, but to say we're going to give up Cisco and we're going to go to all Palo Alto. And I've known them that do that. And those are multi-million dollar projects to do that. And the question is, what's the business case for it? Is Palo Alto better and more secure? Yes. Does it make the business case to change out Cisco, which has probably much more of the market share? I don't know. That would have to be a decision that's made, and most people aren't doing that. I know Cisco's having greater supply chain issues than Palo Alto right now. So I'm not sure if that's going to affect any of that. Splunk is great, but people are starting to realize, and they had in the past, boy, Splunk Cloud, not properly tuned and managed, is costing me so much OpEx a year. I don't know if I want to continue with it. And I'm starting to hear that now. It's just, again, it has to be fine-tuned and managed fairly well. And it not always is. So I see people going with a little bit more Splunk on-prem, just because the cloud Splunk just grows too quickly and is too expensive.
Sure.
And on-prem, you can use some capital budget for it, and sometimes that's easier than OpEx. I do see Zscaler out there, and Jay, who's the CEO and founder. Jay's opened multiple companies, and hardly any of those companies that Jay has started have ever done poorly. He's sort of, everything he touches goes gold. So I've got a lot of faith in what he does, and Zscaler is getting more and more popular year after year. What I'm surprised to see is CyberArk there versus SalePoint. I had traditionally seen SalePoint excel in especially new IAM installations, whereas CyberArk not so much. So I'm interested here. That's kind of interesting where CyberArk is at a higher level than SalePoint.
Yeah, and why is that? Why are you seeing one succeed more?
And
than the other?
I don't know, because well, SalePoint has just been taken over by private equity, right? So that could have something to do with it. People tend to be afraid. Think of the list of products, McAfee, go on and on. Think of the list of products that PE took over, Dell SecureWorks, that people are happy with the results of PE taking over those companies. And that could be part of the issue here.
Yeah, great. And then, also in the IAM, identity space, you have Okta and Auth0 that it acquired, both doing very well, growing in pervasiveness pretty quickly and still very high in our net score. Any comments on Okta? They had that breach fairly recently, but didn't seem to affect them too much.
Okta has a full suite of security products that people are used to and like. I think we see somebody that used to be in the market way down at the bottom here, RSA,
dropping,
and a huge drop from where they used to be. And I predicted this just as the way RSA strategically moved over the last 10 to 15 years. Their customer service, their product suite, their purchases, their M&A has just been horrible. So Okta didn't have those issues and kind of moved up front. And so a lot of people are going with that. Netscope and so with Darktrace, we're looking at a lot of the, we talked about a lot of AI. So that's standing out in front. Darktrace does stand out in front from their AI perspective. Tanium, strong product. It's good that it's there, but Tanium is one of those products that overlaps a huge amount with other products.
Right.
So the question is, when most people I talk to want to put in Tanium, they need to really see a good business case of what other products are they going to pull out,
right,
if they put Tanium in. And sometimes it's not easy to pull those other products out. So that's the only, and Whiz.io is just taking off like crazy in the cloud space. It seems to be the #1 choice from the cloud potential.
Yeah, Whiz is a big standout here. It's our highest net score in the information security sector, which is saying something. Still growing in pervasiveness. It's not very, very widespread yet in terms of our survey presence. That's sort of a rough indicator for how widespread it is. But very high intentions to spend, very high adoption rates and increase rates. So definitely keep an eye on Whiz. What is it about Whiz that people like so much?
I think it's quick. It's easy to install. Their company, and I know several of their company engineers are very excited about the project. It helps people organize their thoughts with cloud, their whole cloud posture. And it's a tool that I think it just integrates well with their cloud endeavors. And there's not a lot of competition around what else am I going to use. There are other tools, but Whiz stands out there as if people are going to do something, they use Whiz.
Yeah. Is it tailored, or is it a better fit for certain types of companies, certain sectors, or more, I guess, cloud or legacy, or what? Are there any types of flavors of the kinds of organizations that are drawn to Whiz, or is it pretty across the board?
Pretty across the board. I see it in pharmaceuticals. I see it in small companies. I see it all over the place, and they're just going kind of crazy. I mean, they're just covering just about everything. It's looking at platforms. It's looking at the different architectures that people have in place, and it really helps, especially the public cloud. It's also, as we know, a great company from Israel, and most of the employees there were formerly in the Israel armed forces and areas dealing with cyber as a crime. So people really know what they're doing.
Yeah, strong cyber defense there in that country, and really great engineering schools as well. Excellent. Ed, you mentioned, I was thinking about this when you talked about Splunk, just to jump back a bit, we track adoption replace reasoning when we have enough people that when we reach a certain threshold with people who say so. If you go to Splunk, you were talking about their cost. Here's the reason people replace. it's product cost.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
So this is one of the more stark, adoption replace reasoning graphs. This is a replacement among its information security presence for Splunk. So certainly cost is the issue. And you think this is because, it's about tuning the cloud usage? Maybe that might be a big part of it?
It is. So just like anything, what people do is they fill up their cloud space pretty quickly. And instead of fine tuning, which takes a lot of time and effort and risks not catching everything that's bad, they just buy more cloud space, and they budget more and more each year. And that budget gets approved each year until somebody comes in, the CIO over the CISO, and looks at, what in the world are you doing? This is ridiculous. And then they go back to the business case with, let's say, the old IBM product that they had in place as a SIM prior. And they're saying, but look, costs on the IBM product went up 2% a year. Costs on Splunk are going up 25% a year. We just can't stay there. Even how good a product is, we just can't stay in that arena.
I want to finish on a discussion of skills and training, if you don't mind. So,
sure.
Let's talk about training first. So when we look at information security, we do track, KnowBe4, which is an interesting vendor. Let's see if I can find them here. So they're doing okay. They're hovering right here in the middle, with pretty pervasive and pretty high net score. How important is a good training vendor or good training? Is homebrewed okay, or is it okay to use these vendors?
No, a good training vendor knows exactly where the new needs are for training, whereas homegrown isn't necessarily there.
Right.
And this is some of the keynote I usually do. Sometime we talk about it. 25 years ago, when you had mainframes and some mid ranges, and the Mac was coming out a little bit, you had the IBM portable, and then the IBM PC, and a few things coming out. When these things occurred, the only thing you could do to protect the organization was to train people. I remember having a poster that I created saying, Uncle Sam wants you. And then it talked about to change your password frequently and to do this and that, all those types of things 25 years ago. And then we had tools, and every single colored dot for every category you have here is less than 25 years old, except maybe IBM. But, right? So all these tools and all these features and all these functions came out. And the bad guys found ways to obstruct them and to move against them and to fight them down and to beat them down. So what does the protection come back to? People. All comes back to people again. Just like it was 25 years ago, it comes back to people. It's the people that click on malware. It's the people that help get the organization infected, whether it's touching or having admin rights to their laptop that's connected to a network, whether that's having access to a network that they shouldn't, whether it's lack of segmentation, appropriate segmentation of a network, whether it's lack of the best email filtering tools. It comes back to people again. So very, very effective to train people back again, because the tools weren't able to do everything they needed to do.